Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Friday Night Smackdown review. And tonight's Smackdown, of course, was from the Performance Center in Orlando. And from what I'm hearing, WWE is going back to taping both shows, both Raw and Smackdown. I think starting next week or this week. I'm not so sure about that, but that's why I heard online that WWE is going back to taping both shows. But SmackDown tonight, aside from the Triple H 25th anniversary segment, the show as a whole was fucking terrible. SmackDown continues to be the worst pro wrestling show on TV. I mean, the Triple H 25th anniversary segment was pretty much the only thing that I enjoyed tonight. But overall, the show was fucking terrible. So let's jump right into the SmackDown review. SmackDown opened up tonight with the 8-time SmackDown Tag Team Champions, The New Day. So out came Kofi and Big E. Kofi ended up getting on the mic. He ended up talking about last week's win, where Big E ended up winning the titles for The New Day. Kofi then ended up praising Big E for bringing home the titles to the New Day. Kofi ended up asking everyone to put their hands together for Big E. And Big E ended up reminding Kofi that no one is here. Of course, no crowds because of the whole coronavirus outbreak. So Kofi and Big E, they end up going on about the number of title reigns they've had. And he ended up saying that they have more title reigns than legends and Hall of Famers. They go on and mention the Hart Foundation, the British Bulldogs, the New Age Outlaws, and Edge and Christian. And they also end up mentioning Demolition. So Kofi ended up saying that he doesn't say that to brag. He says it because they're proud to have their names next to greats in the industry. So out came the Lucha House Party, Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado. So they came out. They end up congratulating Kofi and Big E. And they end up saying that they're also tired of not getting opportunities. So they end up saying that they want to be the first challengers to the New Day. Really? Lucha House Party being the first challengers for the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team titles? Really? Joke. So out came the former SmackDown Tag Team Champions, The Miz and John Morrison. So The Miz and Morrison, they end up rushing past the Lucha House Party. Miz ends up going, really? 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 You know, his famous really sayings. So The Miz ended up ranting about the matches that led Big E, the match that led to Big E winning last week. Morrison ended up saying that Kofi and Big E have never defeated them in a traditional tag team match. And he ended up calling their win cheap. And Miz ended up saying that they have someone pulling strings for them. And they don't deserve the win. The Miz ended up saying to them that they want their titles back. So we had Lince Dorado, Gran Metalik. They end up getting in the ring. Metalik was shouting in Spanish. Morrison ended up translating. Big E reveals that that's not what Metalik said. Lince ended up going on to translate. And then out came the Forgotten Sons. Steve Cutler, Wesley Blake, and Jackson Riker. This team I'm not really a fan of. Haven't been when they were in NXT. I said this before, when they were in NXT, I wasn't a fan of them either. Down there. I'm just not a fan of the Forgotten Sons. So Miz ended up asking the Forgotten Sons if they can help them. And he wonders who the hell they are. So Steve Cutler ended up telling the Miz to laugh it up. He ended up introducing them. Cutler ended up saying that they actually served their country. But ever since they came home, they've been treated like trash. And that they were also tossed aside. He ended up saying that the others may not know who they are, but they will soon. And he says they will be forgotten no more and will soon reign over the tag team division. And Miz ended up talking about, respect and his time in the company. So Jackson Riker ended up saying that the Miz ended up playing a Marine in the movies, of course, referencing the Marine films, except for the Marine 1 and 2. So he says, but a real Marine, Riker ended up saying a real Marine is standing in front of him. So we had Wesley Blake ended up talking about how they are cut from a different cloth, mentally and figuratively. He ended up saying that some might call them savages, might call the Forgotten Sons savages. So Blake ended up saying they strike anywhere, anytime, and that you won't see it coming. So then we saw the Forgotten Sons. They end up attacking everyone in the ring. We had a brawl break out. Miz and Morrison end up retreating to the stage. Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik were sent out. Kofi ended up getting beaten down by the Forgotten Sons. Big E ended up coming, ended up fighting them off. Forgotten Sons then ended up beating down on Big E. Kofi was then powerbombed on top of Big E from the Forgotten Sons. And the Forgotten Sons end up standing tall. And Lince Dorado and Gran Metalik were on the outside. And that was basically how the segment ended. But this segment was fucking terrible. The Forgotten Sons, I'll admit, not a fan of them, but they came out decent in this segment. I liked what they had to say, but overall they couldn't save this terrible segment. I mean, they were decent here, but and then we had the Miz and John Morrison. They were backstage. Renee Young was there. Renee Young was asking them for comments about, what happened out there. So the Miz and John Morrison, they end up accusing the Lucha House Party of instigating everything. And the Miz ended up saying that they're going to get a match set up for tonight to make everything right. And pretty much basically that was that. Now we went to the first match tonight. It was a Money in the Bank qualifying match. Drew Gulak versus Baron Corbin, King Baron Corbin. Oh, God. And the match itself was fucking terrible. We had, the bell ended up ringing. Gulak and Corbin ended up locking up. Corbin then tossed Gulak over the top rope. Gulak went out to the floor. Corbin was then trash talking to Gulak and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan was also out there. And we had Gulak end up coming right back in. Locks up on Corbin. Gulak ended up taking Corbin down. Working him over. End up slapping Corbin on the top of his head. And at the end of the match, you had Cesaro and Nakamura, Shinsuke Nakamura. They end up appearing on the other side of the barricade. They end up pulling Daniel Bryan over, laying out Daniel Bryan. They end up tossing him into one of the Trons to the side that was near the barricade. Gulak end up leaping from the ring, sending Cesaro into the barricade. Gulak end up stalking Nakamura. And then Corbin came from behind, and he ended up sending Gulak into the ring post. Corbin ended up bringing Gulak back into the ring. And Corbin then ended up hitting the end of days on Gulak. Went for the pin. So there you go. Corbin is now in the Money in the Bank. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. But overall, the match itself, terrible. So post-match, Nakamura and Cesaro, they came to the ring. And they end up holding up Gulak. Corbin ended up getting his scepter. Corbin ends up charging and drops Gulak with a scepter shot. Corbin ended up raising his scepter, and his music ended up started back up. And that was that. So then we had Michael Cole and Corey Graves. They talk about Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski is coming out of retirement. And he's going to be playing for Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Which means that Gronk is gone from WWE. I'm like, thank God. Thank you. I'm like, then WWE signing Rob Gronkowski, it was a waste. He's going back to play for the Buccaneers. So what was the point on signing Gronkowski? What was the point of signing him? Absolute waste. And he is the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 champion. So what does that mean? Are we going to see WWE finally retire this god-awful piece of shit title? Or is the title going to be vacant and we're going to have the circus come out, the Circus of Superstars come out, and R-Truth is going to come out, and R-Truth is going to get back the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title. Hopefully, this title is retired. I don't want to see it back on TV. And if it's shown on TV, R-Truth is going to be holding the title again. God awful. So then we see Sheamus. We saw Sheamus versus Daniel Vidot. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. NXT superstar. This was a squash match. Sheamus ended up, taking out Daniel Vidot. Sheamus was throwing some big elbows at him in the corner. And in the end, Sheamus ended up delivering a Brogue Kick. There you go. Sheamus ended up winning the match. Squash match. Moving on. Michael Cole ended up leading us into Chapter 3, the redemption of Jeff Hardy. In this chapter, Jeff Hardy was talking about fatherhood and, him helping him get on the straight and narrow path to show Jeff Hardy along with, and his kids. And, saw him playing with his two daughters. And we also see Jeff Hardy at his mother's grave. And he ended up saying that she would have been disappointed if she still was alive. She would have been disappointed in him on, what turned out with Jeff Hardy. So he ended up talking about how him and Matt returned to WWE at WrestleMania 33, which was a secret. We all did not know that the Hardys were back with WWE at WrestleMania 33, and that ovation that the Hardys got when they returned was absolutely amazing. It was very unexpected, and there was no spoilers or articles that leaked out telling us that the Hardys were going to be there at WrestleMania 33. So that was quite a moment. So we had the Big Show and Christian talk about how big that return was. And Jeff Hardy ended up saying that he will never forget that night. And, I'm sure a lot of fans are never going to forget that night because, that was one of the best highlights at that WrestleMania. And he ended up calling that moment a hell of a way to start his career back with WWE. And then we're going to get the final part of this. It's going to be called Chapter 4, The Comeback. So, but this series has been, really good with showcasing Jeff Hardy. Then we had the Miz and John Morrison versus the Lucha House Party. Did not even care for this match. So we had, before the match got underway, Michael Cole was talking about Jeff Hardy. Sheamus was out there. He suddenly appeared back at ringside. Sheamus was, bullying Michael Cole. Ended up slapping Cole's headset off. And it looked like the headset broke a little bit. And, Sheamus wasn't saying anything. And Michael Cole was just cowering. So Sheamus then left because we went back into the ring. So we saw Miz and Morrison in there. And then a Lucha House Party made their way out. Then the match got underway with Lince Dorado starting off on the Miz. Lince Dorado went for a springboard to the Miz, but Miz ended up booting him out of midair. Miz ended up delivering a chop, sending Lince Dorado back down. He ended up slamming Lince, launched him into a strike from Morrison on the ring apron. Morrison comes in, delivers an elbow to Lince Dorado. Morrison then kept Lince down, and Gran Metalik was looking on. And it was just back and forth with these guys. And in the end, the Lucha House Party ended up winning the match because Gran Metalik ended up blocking the Skull Crusher finale from the Miz. And then he ended up rolling the Miz up. And that was that. And the Miz was really shocked at how Metalik ended up rolling him up. So, Metalica and Lince Dorado retreated up to the ramp. Corey Graves on commentary ended up saying that he is absolutely speechless after what we just saw. And even Michael Cole was, speechless also. And, the Miz and Morrison, they couldn't believe, what just happened, because we saw the looks on their face. Overall, didn't even care for the match. And next was the Money in the Bank qualifying match. Was Sasha Banks versus Lacey Evans. And match was just meh, in my opinion. Sasha carried this whole match. And Bella ended up ringing. Both of them ended up on the floor. Lacey Evans ended up launching Sasha into the barricade. Sasha ended up turning around. And she was focusing on Lacey's right hand that she uses for the woman's right. Bayley was also out there, of course. And Sasha kept control of the match. Lacey ended up mounting some offense. And Lacey was selling the arm injury. And Evans ended up delivering a big knee to Sasha. And there was a point in the match where Lacey ended up delivering the woman's right. So Lacey went for the pin. Bayley ended up putting Sasha's foot on the bottom rope. And, Sasha ended up couldn't believe it. And Sasha was upset with Bayley. So this is more seeds planted. And we're going to be seeing, Sasha and Bayley, feud soon. So Sasha ended up turning back around after she was being upset with Bayley. So she turned back around. Lacey ended up delivering the woman's right to Sasha. Lacey went for the cover. And there you go. Lacey Evans ended up winning the match. She's going to be in Money in the Bank. In the Money in the Bank, the women's Money in the Bank. But post-match, Sasha and Bayley were on the stage. And out came Tamina. Of course, Tamina is the number one contender to face Bayley for the title. And Tamina ends up delivering a super kick to Bayley on the stage. She ends up laying out Bayley. And that was that. So then when Smackdown came back from the commercial, we saw a video looking at the history between Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman. Of course, they're going to be facing each other at Money in the Bank. So then after that, Michael Cole ended up leading us into another video showing the recent events between Otis, Mandy Rose, Dolph Ziggler, and Sonya Deville. And it was announced that the two Money in the Bank qualifying matches for next week is going to be Otis versus Dolph. Once again, we got to see that. We got to see Otis versus Dolph once again. And then we're going to be seeing Carmella versus Mandy Rose for the women's Money in the Bank qualifying match. So we're going to be seeing those matches next week on SmackDown. Then we see Carmella and Dana Brooke. They were backstage. They talk about, Carmella's qualifying match next week. And Dana Brooke already, is going to be in Money in the Bank. I'm like, really? Dana Brooke and the women's Money in the Bank. God help us. So we had Carmella and Dana Brooke versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, for the women's tag team championships. What more can I say about this match? Match was god awful. Nikki Cross ended up charging at Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke ended up delivering a drop kick to Nikki Cross, sending her out of the ring. Carmella ended up taking Alexa Bliss out at ringside. And at the end of the match, Alexa ended up taking in Nikki Cross. And they end up doing a double team move to Carmella. Alexa went for the cover. And there you go. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross retain the Women's Tag Team Championships. Overall, match was terrible. And then we get to the best thing on this show tonight. Triple H 25th anniversary celebration. So, when Smackdown came back from the commercial, it was announced that for next week, we're going to be getting Daniel Bryan versus Baron Corbin. Oh, are we looking forward to that next week? Let's just hope Daniel Bryan wins. We got to see Corbin once again fucking next week. So then we had the Triple H 25th anniversary celebration. Triple H made his way to the ring. And he ended up getting on the mic. And Triple H ended up saying that it's hard for him to even believe that it's been 25 years that he's been, with WWE. And he continued, and he got interrupted by Shawn Michaels, HBK, Heartbreak Kid. And this was really surprising. I wasn't expecting Shawn Michaels to, be out there for Triple H, but they're really good friends. And Shawn ended up saying that Triple H didn't think he'd get to have this celebration without him. He ended up saying that Triple H is one of the greatest WWE performers of all time. Whether you all like Triple H or you don't like Triple H, you gotta admit, Triple H is one of the greatest performers of all time in WWE. Bar none. And he ended up saying that if you're not down with the 25th anniversary, social distancing. So Triple H had his arm around Shawn Michaels. He jokes about backing off because of course, social distancing. Shawn Michaels ended up saying that he sent out hundreds of invitations to Triple H's friends and loved ones around the world. He ends up saying that we're all here. So the camera ended up showing the Performance Center, empty. Triple H ended up joking, and he said, "Oh, at least Michael Cole and Corey Graves showed up." So Shawn Michaels ended up joking about Triple H still being a draw and packing the fans in. This is where Shawn Michaels ended up getting a bit more serious, where he ends up talking about him and Triple H's friendship. Shawn Michaels ended up thanking Triple H, and Shawn Michaels mentioned to Triple H how he never had a 25th anniversary celebration. And Shawn Michaels ended up saying that they've been friends every second during that time. For that time that he's known Triple H for those 25 years. So they end up talking about having good times as, when they were, DX and being, money. So Shawn Michaels ended up saying that it all worked. Flawless executions. and everything that they touched turned to gold. So Shawn Michaels ended up showing a video, and the video was of DX's not so greatest moments, which were like outtakes and bloopers from their moments, which were really funny. So after the video was over, Shawn Michaels ended up going on about Triple H's career and accomplishments. Mentioned Triple H, won. It was a 14-time world champion. He had numerous WrestleMania wins and countless WrestleMania moments. So Shawn Michaels ended up saying that he likes to think of himself as Mr. WrestleMania. He says, but what he did on the grandest stage of them all pales in comparison. So Shawn Michaels ended up showing us a video package, a funny video package of Triple H's WrestleMania moments, which these moments included more of a dozen losses that Triple H had, and a bunch of punches in the quarter from Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 34. So it was funny. It was a funny video package showcasing, Triple H's dozen losses. So Shawn Michaels ended up saying that Triple H said that, that makes Triple H look not that good. So Triple H ended up asking Shawn Michaels how many WrestleMania losses he had. And Michaels ended up saying, this isn't about him. And Triple H ended up saying that does make him want to thank people that join him in the ring every night. He ends up mentioning, the greatest legends and Hall of Famers, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Undertaker, Batista, Mick Foley, Randy Orton, and of course, his best friend, Shawn Michaels. All great feuds that Triple H ended up having with those guys. So he ended up saying that it was incredible. And without those people to be in the ring with, his career would have been nothing. So Shawn Michaels ended up saying that those people probably feel the same way as he does. So then Shawn Michaels ended up bringing up Triple H meeting Stephanie McMahon, or as he calls her, Stephanie No One. So Triple H's phone ended up ringing. He answers it. It's Stephanie. So Triple H was on FaceTime with Stephanie. Stephanie ends up bringing up how Shawn Michaels is mocking her on TV, which Shawn Michaels was mocking Stephanie, which was funny. So Triple H ended up downplaying it, and Stephanie ended up telling him that she's watching it live. So Stephanie ends up ripping on Shawn Michaels. Triple H ends up hanging up on her, and he ends up telling Shawn Michaels that Stephanie said hi. It was funny. So Shawn Michaels ended up bringing up Evolution. So Ric Flair ended up calling in. Ric Flair was on FaceTime along with Triple H. Flair ended up congratulating Triple H, and he says he loves both Shawn and him. Flair ended up joking that Triple H better not let Shawn Michaels super kick him at the end of the segment. And Flair ends up saying, God bless. And then he gets off FaceTime with Triple H. So Triple H ended up getting another call. And then, for some reason, we went to a commercial. It went right to commercial. So right when SmackDown came back from the commercial, Triple H ended up getting a call from Road Dogg, Brian James. So they ended up doing a little comedy. Road Dogg had a big beard. So Shawn Michaels ended up saying that it's almost time to go. Triple H ended up saying that he spoke with Fox, and they could go as long as they want. And then we had Vince McMahon. Yes, Vince, the senile old man, came out. Vince ended up saying that they didn't think he was going to miss out on making remarks. So Shawn Michaels ended up interrupting and says this is going to be a special moment between Vince and his son-in-law. Vince ended up saying that Triple H's 25 years is really extraordinary. He said under normal circumstances, Vince would come down to the ring from the stage and join them. So Vince was shown probably social distancing himself. He ended up talking about some of the hits and misses from Triple H's career. He said he indicates that Triple H was behind the famous This Is Your Life segment, the Bayley This Is Your Life segment. And Vince ends up saying that segment brought the crickets out, but it wasn't Bayley's fault. Of course it wasn't Bayley's fault. You're the one who approved that segment, which was god-awful. God-awful. Yeah, Vince ended up saying that segment bought the crickets. Yeah, you bought the crickets. Because you approved of it. This is how senile Vince McMahon is. So Vince ended up saying, seriously, I love you. And Triple H ends up saying that he loves, Vince back. So Shawn Michaels ended up interrupting and says he loves them both. So Vince was laughing and he ended up saying tonight, he just wants to say that Triple H's performance tonight. He just wanted to say that that's Triple H's performance tonight. And he said just him overall is just god-awful. He said it sucked. It was rotten. And someone close to them would say, yeah, Vince, you just said that, this whole thing was god-awful. Just like this whole show was. Yes, this whole show sucked. This whole show was rotten. Good, I'm glad you admitted that that this segment to you is god-awful. This whole show was god-awful, Vince. Vince ended up saying that he's ashamed of them tonight. Oh, Vince, you should be ashamed of how you booked this whole show. And how you book SmackDown every single week and approve of what Bruce Pritchard ends up bringing to you. He says, he's ashamed of them tonight, and if they haven't put everyone to sleep by now, he will say goodnight. Oh yeah, Vince, you put everybody asleep every week for SmackDown on SmackDown. SmackDown every week is putting people to sleep. So Vince ends up strutting off the stage, tells Triple H to wrap it up. Triple H ends up asking if Vince is throwing him out. And Vince ends up going to the back. The lights start going down in the Performance Center. Triple H and Shawn Michaels were still in the ring. And then we hear the sound of crickets echo in the PC. Which, this was lame. It was lame putting the sound of crickets there. Triple H ended up joking that Vince is really throwing him out. He says it's just about, Triple H ends up asking Shawn Michaels if he hears the crickets. And Shawn ends up saying, the story of your career, pal. the story of your career. And Smackdown went off the air. But like I say, this whole segment was good. I really enjoyed it. And in the end, Vince just destroyed it. And, you know, the whole cricket sound effect was lame, in my opinion. Lame and cheesy. But overall, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this segment. Overall, that was SmackDown tonight. Terrible show, aside from the Triple H 25th anniversary celebration. That was that. So anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until next video, I'll see you all later.